and the Big Adventure. It was summer on the island of Adventure Bay. And like every summer, every single pup in the crew is proud. Marshall likes the seaside. Rubble likes climbing hills. And the Paw Patrol like going on vacation. One morning, Ryder called in a meeting at the
See the world. What? Off to see the world? Well, yeah. We have worked a lot lately, so we're going to be traveling on an airplane for a while. We're going to be back in a few weeks, so don't worry, but now get some sleep for tomorrow. And they all went to sleep. The next morning, they woke up very early. Is it really time to wake up yet? Yeah, it is. Now come on, let's go.
Just then the pup smelled smoke. What does that smell like? Whoa. That could only mean one thing. Fire! And it was. A building had caught fire. What? A house had caught fire. And the house is starting to rock into pieces. Quick, Winnie. Oh no. How are you going to get this broken house? Woo! Just then they heard an alarm. It was an alarm they were happy to see. It's Marshall! It's Marshall! Oh! All right, what do we have here? Bust my buffers. Fire! There's trouble in England. Quick, someone, put out the fire. Get the hose ready. I am completely out of water. My truck is out of water. Guess I'm not gonna have to let this building burn. Shush. Shut the name. Sure. Oh, yes, it's working. Just then, the fireman started his hose. Marshall started his hose. The firefighters started their hoses with a creak and a crack. And at last, the fire was out. The house had rocked into pieces and everything was now burnt. But the hose was still going. Just then, Rubble had an accident. He didn't saw, but he had fell in water. And he was covered. This looks like loose rocks. This could lead to a rock slide. Just then, rocks came down to the ground. Rubble was getting everywhere. Help! 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 Even plaster from the house landed. But then Rubble got out of there. And just then, a pipe suddenly broke. then, the hose, just then a pipe had suddenly broken up. And soon, the pipe was about to leak water. Stop, Mommy. Tell Daddy to close the hose. The leaky water tank, there was a leaky water tank. And it leaked water everywhere. There was a leaky water tank. And soon the leaky water tank turned it into a muddy water. Just then a giant mudslide began to gather. Just then a giant mudslide began to make. When Marshall had finished to put out the fire, he was headed right for the muddy ditch. Marshall fell. The mighty Marshall fell into the muddy ditch. He could not move. Marshall could not move, but that doesn't mean the trouble is over. The pipe leaned down to the ground. There's a rock slide! Rock slide! This could lead to a rock slide! Ah! Rocks were tumbling and rolling. Was tumbling down to the ground. Rocks came speeding down the ground. The rock slide was all a mess. Just then, rocks were coming. The rocks let out a cloud of steam. The rock slide was getting bigger and bigger. No one was hurt, but rubble lay everywhere. When Rocky opened his eyes, he could see that he had fallen into a ravine, and rocks lay everywhere. Luckily, Rocky wasn't hurt, but his truck started to break down. Rubble and Ryder arrived to clear up the mess. Well, look who broke down. I remember that last time I broke down. What was it like? Well, it was before none of us were born. What? Yeah. I came from America a couple 12 years or maybe even longer, I can't remember. But then what happened? I broke down. My vehicle started to break down. I was stranded and couldn't move. I waited for parts, and I waited, and I became more and more broke down. Whoa, I never heard that one. It's almost like I've never heard that one before. Well, let's get you out of this mess. So Rubble got his drill out, and he began to suck. Yeah, definitely need to take it away for repairs. He tried to knock it with its drill. Whoa! Okay, maybe I'll just scoop it up. And he started to scoop up most of the stones. Pushed them back into the ravine. One by one, the rocks plummeted down back into the ravine. And then immediately Rocky's truck looked miserable. We'd better take it to the works for repairs. I'm on it, said Rubble. Got into his truck. Attached up. Put Rocky on it. And he took Rocky to the works to do repairs. They arrived at the works a few hours later. It wasn't a very big works. It was a very small one. It was just a simple cave. Rubble and Rocky immediately arrived. Well, we better get you repaired. So Rubble scooped him onto siding. And Rocky soon got to work. They needed to full restorate it. It took a while for it to be repaired. It was very hard to get the spots. So they eventually cleaned it up, put in some new forklifts. Meanwhile, there was a viaduct that led over the ocean. But meanwhile, Sky was driving right over it. Then there was trouble. He noticed
that his wheels were not on the viaduct. Oh no! I think I'm gonna fall! And he spoke too soon. The viaduct went over the ocean. Sky tumbled off the track. Sky tumbled right off the tracks. Sky shut her eyes and tumbled right off the rails. Whoa, 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 whoa! Ooh. And she fell. Whoa, 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 whoa! Ooh. Sky fell off the viaduct and fell right into the sea. She plummeted right into the water. But meanwhile, they didn't know that Chase, Rocky, Marshall, and Zuma were on the top. Zuma, why don't you go and rescue him? I'm on it. Let's dive in. Urgh. So, a wave had caught her. Zuma used his gravelizers to get him free. There was a giant wave. He launched out his gravelizer and immediately got to work to free right out of there. He cleared the wave. And Sky's vehicle immediately broke again. Oh my God. I think its engine won't start. Come on. So Sky hopped aboard and they immediately floated to shore. They immediately floated to shore. Ryder called in for something again. Well, pups, we need to travel to an island. What island? Well, an island that's far, far away from England. Is it? Yeah, it's an island close. It's called Easter Island. Easter Island? What a ridiculous name. And how are we going to get to Easter Island? We're going to go in quite a big ship. We're going to go in quite a big ship. We will be sailing for many days and we'll sail many seas over many days. Oh, and here comes the ship right now. There's the ship. Get in. So all the pups got into the ship. And soon the ship departed. And with that, they floated to Easter Island. But wait. The ship is starting to get holes and something is sinking. This could be a disaster. The ship is floating away on its side. But wait, I can see hole. But wait, the control panel has stopped working and something's on fire. This can be a disaster. And yes, the ship had sunk. And now all the pups need to swim to the docks. When they arrived at the docks, they arrived at land.
Land at last. What kind of ship was that? I've got no idea. But because we're on a big adventure, I think that's what it's supposed to be. Nonsense. We're supposed to be traveling a couple miles away. But does anybody know what happened to the ship? No idea. The captain just told me I had to jump into the sea. Ah, there it is. The ship was sunk. Wait, now? How are we gonna get to Easter Island with no ship? Hello? We are at Easter Island? Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, right. Good. So, should we go camping? There are some very good bushes over there. Okay. They arrived on the bushes. These are... Look. I don't know where I am. Everything started to get very quiet. Everything started to get very quiet. Where are we? Huh? Where am I? Ooh. Boing. Where am I? All the pups were lost in the woods. Finally, the pups arrived at their destination. These woods were so thick. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now everybody in Adventure Bay will be wondering where we are. I don't know where we are. Everything was very quiet. Where is everybody? Where's everybody anyway? Chase, Ryder, are you sure we should have went here? 'Cause this doesn't look much like Easter Island to me. Yeah, of course it is. Second thought, maybe you're right. Everything was very, very quiet. I don't know where we are. I don't know where we are. Me neither. But where did Rocky go? Yeah, I knew there were 7 of us. Let's count each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, Rocky's missing. Where could Rocky be? I think we need to search in the bushes. So the pups searched the bushes. Jason also decided to go in the bushes. They were stuck in the bushes. Where are we, Chase? Do you even know where we are? No idea. I was just told that I had to go into the woods. But these woods are so scary. Yeah, they are scary. They are scary. But I think this is the only way to find Rocky. So the pups search some more. These woods are starting to get very... Ow! What is it? Vines. Ugh. Got you out. Do you know where Rocky is? We've been searching forever. Yeah. I'll take that as a no. Where are we? Everything was very quiet. But then, suddenly, they heard a voice. Hello? But just then, the pups heard a voice. The pups heard an echo. Hello? Huh? No one. The echo started again. Hello? 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 Again, no one was there. The noise seems to be coming from the other end of the bushes. Then Chase and Marshall gasped. There was Rocky trapped in the bushes. Rocky, we've been looking all over for you. Yep, I just got lost in these woods. Yeah, we were wondering where we are. Rocky, Rocky, do you even know where we are? No idea. No idea. We're not. No idea. This really is weird. All I hear is... Wait, I think I do hear something. Do you hear music? Yeah, I've been hearing it ever since we were on the ship. Yeah, we have. Do you know what this is gonna... Meanwhile, at the station, the pups were growing impatient. Where are Rocky, Chase, and Marshall? Everyone. I'm afraid that Rocky, we couldn't find him. Is Rocky gonna be okay? Well, Rocky, you're back. Yeah, it sure is good to be back with all of you. But now we have to where are we? We have to figure out where we are. And we need to even figure out an exit to get out of here. There is no exit. What? That can't be. That can't be. There has to be an exit. There has to. There has to be an exit. I know there has to. I don't know where we are, but just then they heard a laugh. Uh-oh. Could only be someone familiar. Is it? Mayor Armading? And as Jay doesn't have to finish his sentence, Mayor Humdinger wrecked everything over. Rebel! He's stolen your vehicle! And he's pumping out of control! At last, Rubble jumped in. Soon, it was easy. I'm out of control! When Rubble opened his eyes, he could see that he tumbled off the tracks. Luckily, no one was hurt. Get Rubble out free. They needed a way. Soon, the pups see a rope. Don't worry, Rubble. We will pull you out. So, they got their rope up. Hooked the rope. A strong ropes were fastened to Rubble's car, and Chase, pulling hard, managed to bring Rubble to safety. Once Rubble had been craned out of the ravine with the with a mighty puff of Rocky's wheels and a heave from the rope and a heave, and with a mighty heave and with a mighty heave, Rocky took Rubble to the works to be repaired. Now, the works is kind of busy. It's kind of messy. And then they pulled Rubble into the works for repairs. From Rubble's adventure, I think he also deserves a new coat of paint. A few days later, most of the Paw Patrol gathered to see Rocky and also Rubble. Later that day, all the pups gathered to see him. Rocky popped in. I'm afraid Rubble will still have to say. The pups felt silent. Rocky, will Rubble be all right? Well, Rubble! Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. Excellent. Care for a race? Yeah, let's go to a quarry. We're on our way to work, so let's go. The quarry masters are still waiting. I'm coming. And Marshall rolled out of his siding and roared away to the quarry. Now, to get to the other side, they have to cross over a big bridge. And this time, Marshall and Rubble were racing. Had a race to see who's the fastest. 3, 2, 1, go! Wow, they both zoom like rockets! Whoa! There's hustle and bustle at the quarry. Every place in every island, it's never quiet. There's always hustle and bustle. There is always hustle and bustle. Marshall and Rubble soon arrived at the quarry. Many years ago, the bridge was stable, but according to the years, it has been still staying like this. But this time, they had a problem. The bridge suddenly collapsed. Rubble noticed this and braked hard. He roared back down the hill. Thus, the mine suddenly came loose. But to make matters worse, Marshall had to go onto the bridge. His wheels spinned. His wheels were spinning and spinning and spinning until he called. Oh! Luckily, no one was hurt. But the mine collapsed and Marshall soon roared out of control. Ah! And Marshall rolled into a field and tumbled right off the tracks. He came right off the tracks. Marshall had fallen off the bridge. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the bridge was in pieces. Pups arrived a few moments later and came to help clear up the mess. Wow, I'm glad no one was hurt. Wow, I'm glad no one was hurt. But Marshall, you're really stranded down there. Zuma soon got out a rope and rolled it down and soon had to be coupled right up to Marshall. A few moments later, Ryder arrived. He was cross. Marshall, what have I told you not to go to the quarry? Stop messing around at once. Ugh. Once I'm back on the tracks, I'll chase you. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I will chase you. Whatever you say. It was hard to lift Marshall back onto the rails. He surely was kind of heavy. And the tracks were bumpy. And soon, he was lowered back onto the tracks. Now I'll chase ya. Oh, really? Go on then. And with a mighty roar of his siren, he raced off. Marshall roared as fast as he could. He wanted to get away, but Ryder still couldn't keep up. Then he noticed that he was so close and gasped. They had the ride of their lives. They had never had a race as big as that. What's happened? Oh no! He can't even puff properly. Marshall raced around the corner and noticed that there was a big hill up ahead. Oh no, there's a hill coming. Oh, I don't want to crash. This hill doesn't look very stable. Marshall raced along and raced down the corner. Ryder soon had to follow. Get back here. Just then, they had the ride of their lives. Marshall went as fast as he could. Marshall had to chuff as fast as he could. He wanted to get away. Marshall had to chuff as fast as he could. He chuffed as fast as he could, but Ryder couldn't get him. But up stood a canyon. Marshall knew that it was the fastest way to get to the lookout. Marshall roared and Ryder wheezed. Marshall was closer and closer. Then there was trouble. The track broke. And Ryder and Zuma were too heavy. The track broke loose. The track soon broke loose. With a creak and a crack, Ryder flew down into the ditch. Ryder flew down into the ravine. And soon, Marshall had to stop. Sorry, I gotta go. Hours later, a crane was found and Zuma was put back on the tracks. Marshall came up and soon he came to a complete stop. Ryder, why the heck did you want to chase me? Because, and Marshall didn't have time to say.
It was really interrupted by the motor. But just then, a rope was attached to Zuma, and because Marshall was attached to the rope, and with another big heave, Marshall took Zuma to the repair center. The repair center was just built, and today was the day when it was built. They pulled him into the works. It was quite empty for a regular repair center, but it was just the right place for any vehicle to be repaired, even Zuma's. So he had to be taken to be all repaired, to be fixed over again, to be fixed over again. He had to be hanged around until he waited for new parts. For the past couple of months, Zuma did nothing but sit in the works. He had a terrible time waiting for his new parts to come. Eventually, the workmen fixed him. And eventually, he was back on the track and ready to do some more missions. But for Ryder to say sorry for chasing him, he had to build a new island. It wasn't hard. They had to get tracks. They were gonna build the new bridge. But this bridge led up in the hills where the sun shone. The bridge was soon being built. It wasn't an ordinary bridge. It had to be leaned over mountains and snow and sun. There were lots of tracks. It was one of the strongest bridges. The bridge was soon being built. The bridge was soon being built. It took a lot of work to build the road. The bridge was huge. It was lots of work than any of the pups thought. This bridge was quite huge. This bridge was huge. But the worst part is that the lamp led over
the bridge. Boop, 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 boop. The first pup to try the new bridge was Marshall. Why Marshall? Well, long ago, Marshall's wheels weren't as strong as his old wheels weren't as strong as one day he had to go over a bridge. The bridge was quite unstable. But Marshall wasn't as original as his old original self nowadays. His old wheels were so old that he tumbled off the tracks. He had to be sent back to the mainland for repairs. Now he's got new wheels with new racks and tires. So he was the first one to try the new bridge. He had extra grip on it. Well, we hope so anyway, because sometimes it doesn't work. It works this time. He had a hard time getting up there. Then Rocky came by. And he pulled and pulled and banged Marshall right up the hill. I've done it. Yes, I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. According to the years, the bridge was getting very old. And just to get a heads up, the tracks were starting to bend and break over the baking sun. Summer was coming very quickly. Summer already came. And the track started to become very unstable. The track started to bend and break over the baking sun. It hadn't been raining for days. One day, Marshall had to go on that bridge again. He had his new wheels fitted, but this time he had a little accident. The tracks weren't so stable. He shoved as fast as he could. He wanted to get over the bridge kind of fast. He shoved as fast as he could. He wanted to get over the bridge fast. So, he trundled away. The tracks bended. The tracks bended. They broke. They shattered. And at last, it was finally broken. But another day, he had this time a very big accident. The tracks didn't hold on much longer, and with a mighty pull, the bridge had collapsed. It was a terrible mess. The tracks were rolling down the hill. They noticed that there was a swamp ahead, so Marshall tried to be careful, but it was too late. Ooh, 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 yeah. Ooh. Oh. Until it was too late. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah. stuck. Oh, I'm stuck. And he was. Poor Marshall stood dazed and surprised in the floodwater. I hope Ryder understands that this still isn't my fault, but he spoke too soon. The tracks tumbled down the hill and landed into the water. The water till it was too late. The tracks tumbled right into the water. The tracks tumbled right into the water. It was too late. Another piece fell, and by now, the whole bridge was destroyed. No one was hurt, but Marshall stood dazed and surprised in the lake. I hope Ryder knows that this isn't my fault, and believe me, he did. Well, Marshall, this isn't your fault then. No, it wasn't. The track was flooded and I landed right in the water. Okay, I understand that this isn't your fault. We'll have to get help to pull you out. So he quickly went to fetch the pups. I guess we're gonna have to rescue them. Here we go. When he arrived at the pond, or the river, whatever, he noticed that Marshall was, yes, iconically stuck. Iconically stuck in the water. Wow, this really is a big adventure. First, house on fire, then a rock fall, then Sky plunges into the swamp. Then we travel to an island far away. We get lost in the forest. This really isn't kind of a big adventure. We're going to need to get help to pull him out. And drop the pipe. We'll have to get help to pull you out. We're gonna have to pull you out. Meanwhile, Rubble was carrying some pipes. Well, actually only one pipe. He was carrying a huge pipe. I wonder why Ryder needs this. Just then, the scoop began to raise. Oh no! If the pipe falls in the water, it will be ruined. But he spoke too soon. The pipe landed right into the water. No one was hurt, but the pipe had been swept away by a wave. No one was hurt, but the pipe was swept away by a wave. No one was hurt, but the pipe was ruined. Good thing Rubble didn't fall into the duck pond. Yeah, why on earth did you guys fell in it? No idea. Marshall just fell right into it. Boop, 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 boop. Poor Marshall stood in the duck pond for days. But nothing more was said. He dropped the pipe and he was never seen again. What are we gonna do? I think we're gonna need help to pull you out. Believe me, we do. Hey, Rubble, could you pull us out of here? You got it. Rubble raced off to the rescue. He raced to the rescue, but fell into the duck pond too. But oh no, that only made things worse. Rubble fell in the duck pond altogether. My paintwork! My paintwork! We're gonna need new coats of paint. Luckily, Rubble's wheels were suited to the wet ground and raced off to the rescue. Wait, has there been any rain around here? None, just hot and sunny. Then why is this flood here? No idea. Hey, did you see that pipe that fell in the water? Isn't that pipe kind of big? Yep. I'm gonna try to take it out. Nope. He tried taking out the battery, but it was no good. The pipe was never seen again. Help! Please. Can I get out of the water now? I've been staying here for hours. This bridge really needs rebuilding. You're right, this bridge definitely needs rebuilding. We're gonna have to pull these pieces out of here. Rubble, you're gonna have to go swimming. Here I go. Wow, that was cool. And one by one, Rubble landed in the water and craned his pipe out first. And things had to be craned out of the water. First, the pipe was swept away and was never seen again. Next, he had to pull out Ryder that had fallen. He grabbed onto the hand and Rubble raced to the rescue. Next, he pulled Zuma out of there. Oh. Then he took Marshall, who stayed in the water the longest. I don't mind in the water, but Rocky might. So, there was a giant wave on its way. Oh no! Oh no, you're caught up in a wave. How am I going to get you out now? But just then the wave went up. He had to be craned out of the waters. He had to be craned out of the waters. And he was. Ooh. Thanks. Oh no, I think I won't start. Don't worry, Zuma can take you to the works for repairs again. Marshall was tied to the string, and then, with a mighty pull, he took Marshall away to get repaired. But the tracks were soaked. The tracks couldn't make it out of the water. They were just too heavy. The tracks were a lot heavier than they thought, and they rolled around. And more pipes fell down to the ground. The pipe was never seen again. Eventually, Rubble tried to find the pipe too. He backed up and landed onto the tracks. I knew that these tracks will help me stay afloat, and with a mighty big scoop, he took out the pipe and he took it away to scrap. He drived up and cannonball. Luckily, this time Marshall could drive away to safety. And he rolled away to do some work. The tracks stood in the duck pond all day. We might never get them out of there. But then darkness fell. Ooh, ooh. And Rubble arrived to clear the tracks. But he was on the canyon. He rolled off, hardly daring to move. Then he fell right into the swamps below. And fell right into the water. Luckily, Rubble's beard was suited to the water, and he raced to the rescue. Pulling pulling the pieces of track out of there. Pulling the pieces of track out of there. So they pulled them out one by one. He backed up, raised up, and pushed them in. He pushed and pushed and pushed. He pushed and pushed and pushed. The swamp was very empty and very wet. That's for sure. The swamps were now very wet. And finally, Rubble got stuck in the water. Oh dear, I'm stuck in a wave. We're gonna need Rocky to pull me out. But he waited and waited. So he waited and waited and waited and waited. But Rocky still didn't arrive. What's the matter with him? He should have been here by now. So I'm just gonna have to clear myself out of here. Here I go. Beep, beep, beep. Even though I'm soaked. He jumped clear. He jumped out of the water just in time. A giant wave soared over the water and squirted off. Ooh, boop, 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 boo. Then the sun came, and the flood soon melted. And the flood soon started to melt. By the time, everything was just a poor old empty ground. Boo, 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 boo. There were drops of water everywhere from the recent rain. One by one, they tried to build something. At last, they came up with something. They built a training center. It looked marvelous. Meanwhile, at the top of the mountains, there was a house built. There was a house that was being built. Days passed, months passed, and the house was built. But then there was trouble. A storm came to the island. This made it hard for the pups to drive. Then, suddenly, Sky flew up ahead and she crashed right into the house. No one was hurt, but the house was all into pieces. Boop, 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 boop. There was another house over there, and it rocked too. By now, it was quite the mess. But for the past few weeks, everything ran like clockwork.
pups were happy, and everything was still okay. Eventually, Ryder called every single pup to the training center. Eventually, Ryder called in every single pup, new, old, and everything. Eventually, now every single pup was there. Ryder paused and, "Pups, I am very proud of you. You have been very useful for the past 2 months. And this vacation has gone well. That's for sure. Now, I have an update from our country how much we're going to be staying here." The pups felt silent. "Ryder, are we going to be all right? Is Adventure Bay going to be okay?" Well, I just got an alert. Is it a bad one? Actually, we're going to be staying here for 2 more months. Really? 2 more months here? Hooray! Woo, woo, beta, 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 ow. This is kind of like the best ever. Excellent. We can't wait to be on vacation, aren't we? Yeah, we're gonna, and we did have quite the big adventure. So, we went, then we had a house on fire. Then we had a rock slide. And then we had to sky plunging into the ocean. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. And then we had to go to an island far away. And we got lost in the woods. Great adventure. We had in the woods. We were into the woods. We were stranded in a woodland. We went aboard a ship that sunk. We had a bridge that broke, and a duck pond that Marshall fell into. Don't remind me. Oh, whatever. And then we had a storm that brewed the island. And that's kind of quite it. So, how was your vacation so far? It was like the best. Excellent. I can't wait to go on more adventures like this. Well, come on, let's go. And the pup set off to play. Ryder was alone. He smiled. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It sure is good to be back.